guys, and welcome back to the Chat with Quabs. Sorry about that. Today is going to be a very important video because we're going to be talking about the big B word, the budget. We're talking about budgets, budgeting, all the reasons why we should be budgeting, how to create a budget, very practical things. And my aim today is to just encourage you guys to create a budget. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I hope you don't, press close out on this video. I hope you stay and watch because I think it's going to help you. I think it's important for us as young adults and our journey towards financial freedom. Before we go on with this video, guys, you know what I'm about to do? Yes, subscribe. Please don't be watching the video and don't subscribe. Help your sisters market, help me out. Yeah, just subscribe and let's just grow this family. Okay, now let's jump right into the video. So let's start by talking about what is a budget, because maybe you've heard the word so many times but really you don't understand what a budget is. But plain and simple, a budget is a financial planning tool. So it helps you to plan your finances. It gives you a snapshot of how much money you have and what you can afford based on how much money is coming in and how much money is going out, right? So it just helps you to keep track of your inflow and outflow of money. That's what it is on the most fundamental level. So why should you create a budget? Why should I have a budget? Maybe you're very good with your money. You've never really put any figures on any sheet of paper to figure out what is going in and what is coming in, but you seem to still have money to spend. That's fine. I'm happy for you. I think that's excellent. But I still think you need to have a record of the numbers. And some people are really good with money and some people just aren't, and then you have the people in the middle of that spectrum. But I think the budget is good for anyone on the spectrum, whether you're the best money manager in the whole world or you're the poorest, worst money manager in the whole world, because first and foremost it helps you to plan in advance for where your money is going to go to based on your knowledge of how much money you have and how much money you need to keep living, like how much money you need to spend on groceries, on rent, on all this type of things, so that at the end of the day, maybe you're getting all of this money in, but maybe you can't really afford the things you're buying because you have all of these extra expenses that you need to pay for. Do you know what I mean? So it's basically to let you know what your real affordability level is. Can I really afford these things when I have paid out everything that I'm supposed to pay out? I hope I'm making sense. So why the budget is important is because it's just going to keep you on track of your money and help you to understand. Maybe once you create your budget, you realize that the outflow of money is more than the inflow of money. That means that you're in a deficit or you're close to a deficit. Then it makes you think, oh, how can I readjust my expenses to make sure that I'm not cutting it too close and I'm not spending too much money on things that I shouldn't be spending on, so that I can have the money I need to spend on the other things that I need to spend on. Or maybe you can get another job or find another source of income so that you can supplement what you have, keep your expenses at the same level, but still have a net disposable income that you can actually go out and spend without always being in the negatives or having credit card balances and things like that. Also, it's really important for you to have a budget because it's going to help you stay out of debt. You're not spending more money than you have, because life has become so easy when it comes to spending money, because all you do is swipe, and you can choose not to see what your balance is. Once you carry cash, you find out very quickly how much money you have and how much money you don't have, right? Because the cash is being spent, it's leaving your hand, it's literally getting out of your pocket or out of your hand. But when it comes to like nowadays, how we can just spend money with it, you just go and swipe a card, or you swipe this here and there, or you use your phone, or you can just text, just give, whatever, all of those type of things. It's very easy to avoid looking at your balance because you don't have to. And for those of us who are scared of seeing how much money we have in our bank account because we think we're overspending, I think that's a bad habit. I think you should be on top of checking your balance. But if you're still afraid to do that, a budget is going to help you, because you might not need to check your balance all the time, but if you stick to your budget, you will know how much you can spend and how much not to spend. Do you know what I mean? I hope this is making sense. So it's very important for us nowadays to have a budget, guys. Seriously, I don't know, I can't emphasize this enough, because listen, you might be getting away with spending money anyhow and not keeping track of it, but it's going to come back to bite you in the butt later on. And maybe I'm not being sensitive enough to the different types of people that we have out there, and people spend their money this way and people have these interests and all of these other things. Fine, you can do that. I'm not talking about whether we are different or not. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that whether you are like me or you're not like me, you still need to be on top of your finances. Because if you're not, you're going to always be in debt, or you're going to always be afraid of money, or afraid to talk about money, or money is always going to have this power over you where it's like, once people talk about money, you feel uncomfortable and things like that. I want us to be free of the hold that money has on us. And one way to do that is to budget. There are several other ways I'm going to talk about in separate videos about saving, another important thing, and investing, and paying off our debt. I'll talk about all of those in later videos. I don't want this video to be long, but for now, we're talking about what you can do in the now, like with what you have coming in and what you have going out. How can you monitor that? How can you stay on top of that? And how can you keep track of your money? Okay, who should have a budget, you may be asking. Maybe you think, oh, I'm not in a job, I don't have a regular paycheck, so I don't need to have a budget, whatever. I mean, it goes without saying that if you have a job and a regular paycheck, and if you have a job and a regular paycheck, you should have a budget. Even if you don't have a regular paycheck and you're a freelancer, more importantly, for people who don't have a regular flow of income, a regular source of income, you should have a budget. Because for those types of people and for those types of situations, it's more important for you to be keeping track of your money, because your money comes in and goes out and is very infrequent and unstable. So it's very important that you know where your money is coming from and where it's going, so that you can stay on top of it. And then for college students and people who are young and whatever, you're not excluded from this. You are among. You also need to have a budget. For anyone who has any source of income that comes in on some regular interval, that you're getting money from your parents or from a job or from a contract, whatever, have a budget, okay? You're part of this community of people who need to have a budget. First of all, let's talk about the fact that a budget is a tool for now, for the present, right? To give you a snapshot of what your money looks like, but also a forward planning tool. Like, what can I afford in the future? What can I put my money towards in the future? In the future, do I need to cut out these expenses so that I can have more affordability? Or do I need to find another job, or a job that pays me more so that I can afford more things? Or do I need to save? Things like that, right? It helps you to think about your future and plan towards that, but also in the now, right now. What do I have in my bank account and how can I spend that money right now? Do you know what I mean? So it's important to have that at the back of your mind when you think about creating a budget. So essentially, you're going to have a table or a spreadsheet of some sort. I advise that you have a spreadsheet, because then you can create all the formula so that the calculations are made automatically for you, so that you're not sitting there doing math that you don't need to do. I love math. For me, with my budget, I'm always like adding and subtracting, because I just love that experience. But for those of us who are afraid of math, spreadsheets are excellent. And even for those of us who love math, just have a spreadsheet. And if you want to be calculating along with the spreadsheets, go ahead. After that, I think essentially, right, what the budget is going to have is all your sources of income. So if you have multiple sources of income, it's going to be on your budget. And if you have only a single source of income, put that on your budget. So it's going to have all your sources of income, and then it's going to have every single expense. Listen, it's so important that you have a good sense of where your money is going and where you're spending your money, and all of those places where your money goes should be on your budget. And listen, a budget is not supposed to be like a constraining, like you are tied up to this thing on. That's not the point of a budget. Let me just make that clear, so that people don't feel like, oh, I'm having my hands tied if I create a budget and I have to stick to this militaristic type of thing. No, that's not what it is. It's just supposed to help you to plan and shape your life and keep you within your affordability level, so you have a sense of how much money do I have and how much can I spend, right? So then there can be a lot of flexibility with your budget when it comes to what you want to spend, but I think it's very important that you have on your budget where what the typical expenses are. Do you know what I mean? So that you can really track where your money is going. And I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you a sample budget. This has made up figures, made up numbers, made up sources of income and made up expenses, so that you can just get a sense of what I'm talking about. Just put it on paper, practical ways of how to create a budget, and just, everything that I've said, see it in real life. I separated this video into 2 videos because it was really long and I didn't want to have you sit through a long video. So part 2 is the actual showing you what a sample budget looks like. Now, where should you keep your budget? Personally, I think you should keep your budget where it's easily accessible. I personally don't have like a paper budget where I write things down, and I some people do that and I think that's excellent, but I think that you should have it on some digital space somewhere. Thank God for the internet, right? Thank God for spreadsheets. Thank God for Google Drive. That's where I keep my spreadsheets because it's very accessible. Like, you can access it anytime, any day. It's updated on a real-time basis, so as you're making changes, it's being updated. You don't have to go through pages and pages of paper. I personally think that you should find some cloud software where you can save your spreadsheet on and make changes to it, so that when you get paid, you can go on your budget and make adjustments wherever necessary. Keep your budget where it's easily accessible and where it's easy for you to make changes on a real-time basis. And when should you update your budget? I was saying to people who are afraid of looking at their money, guys, let me just advise you. Don't let money have that type of hold on you that it makes you afraid to check. I know sometimes you spend money and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to know what damage I've done to my account right now. You know what I mean? Those times are fine. Listen, have those times, laugh, whatever, get over it. But don't make those times a frequent part of your life. And also don't let money shackle you in that way. So if you're keeping on top of your money and you're tracking it and you're trying to stay within your budget, that's even another conversation, guys. How to stay within your budget and not spend above your budget, right? Because, guys, listen, you can have a budget and have everything right and excellent, but then you still be spending above your budget. I'll create another video for that, but just let me say that it's important that you stick to it as much as possible. Stick to your budget. Okay, so when should you check your budget? Check it frequently. Check it when there have been any changes to your sources of income, or when there have been any changes to your expenses. If some of your expenses have gone down or some of your expenses have gone up, if you no longer need to spend your money on this type of expense, maybe you've paid off your credit card debt so you don't need to be spending that money, you make those changes to your budget. Maybe you've gotten another job, or you got a raise at work, or you got a bonus, you make changes to your budget accordingly, things like that, right? So whenever there's a change like that, you go into your budget. Sometimes you don't even need to have a significant change. Maybe go to your budget and see, nothing has changed, my expenses haven't changed, my source of income hasn't changed, but I'd like to have more money in my pocket so that I can spend it on the miscellaneous items that I want to spend it on, right? Okay, so you go on your budget and see, I'm spending my money here. How can I reduce this amount of money that I'm spending in this particular category so that I have more money to spend on these other things? Do you know what I mean? So just keep track of it. I'm going to end the video over here. I hope that this video has given you a better sense of what a budget is, why it's important, and how to create one. I hope this is practical. I hope you're going to go out there and create a budget, whether you're a young adult, whether you're in college, whether you just started a first job, whether you don't even have that much money and you think, oh, I can't even do this because I don't have a lot of money. Listen, it's about the mindset more than it is about the money that you have. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is not even an entertaining video. This is more of a let's get it together, guys, because we're trying to become better versions of ourselves, right? Okay, so we're going to have a series of videos in this series talking about financial health, financial freedom, financial planning. So I'm going to be talking about how to save, how to invest, where to invest, give you some breakdowns of what are the different investment vehicles are and all of that, so that we can just get our money together, guys. We're young, but we're still, trying to build for our future. So let's do this together, guys. Respond in the comment section to what I've said in this video. Let's have a conversation about this, right? We're a community. I want to hear your voices and I want to hear what you think. Subscribe. What did I say? Subscribe.